into our next topic then, which is the game of the month. So yeah, thoughts on game of the month. I haven't been able to update my VS in order to get game of the month. So unfortunately for me, I don't know a great deal about this this game. So I'm going to be relying heavily on new chaps to sell me this. So the first thing I do when I get off the stream is update my VS and have a bash on game of the month. So we'll go opposite direction this time. So, Mr. Derek, what is the game of the month and what do you think?
Evercade game of the month. I gather Pixel Games like it pronounced donut Dodo as opposed to Dodo, as I would pronounce it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what a monster to start the month. A native port for the Evercade. This is on a multi-cart, remember. We're not on a dual cart here. The margins are smaller. But this person's put in just as much time, just as much effort to really can this down into an Evercade cartridge. It's a monster.
Right.
And to be honest, I mean, it's got a cult following on Switch. This was really, really big. And we're lucky to have it. Such pride and joy has gone into producing this game. I can't tell you enough. Pixel Games have got this running at a cool 60 frames per second, not just on Evercade Versus and Evercade EXP, but on the original handheld as well.
Wow.
I mean, 1983 is back, and it's back in a big way. Pixel Games are massive fans of the Evercade, and they have been since the early goings, and they've wanted to do something for the Evercade since then. And as I say, they have produced games for Steam and Switch, but they admit themselves they get lost in the wave of games that are on those consoles, and they think they get a much better reception and a lot wider audience if they came to the Evercade. So we could see more from them in the future.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you're going to see when you play this game is the tight controls. Now, the effort that went into this is phenomenal. I don't know if people are aware, but this game registers your input, and then it calculates the player's behavior on every single frame. Does anybody here want to hazard a guess the calculations that is?
I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest.
Yeah. It's going to be a big number, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely. And in case people didn't know, and I got this direct from a meeting I had with Pixel Games, that the controls on the Evercade version are the best on any console currently available. They're that proud of it.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
We're so lucky to have that, and the effort they've put into this is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I couldn't be prouder, to be honest, and it's a great way to start off Indie Game of the Month. And as you say, you were wondering a little bit about future indie games. What I can tell you is there will be sort of an indie game lineup special presentation, and we'll see that later in the year. So.
Ooh, exciting! See, and I think we've said it before about the indie games collections and this kind of thing, but this is for me, this is what the Evercade is for. This sort of game, this sort of studio, this sort of developer. It's great that we can get access to all the other really good stuff as well, all the classics and this kind of thing. But indie developments and indie games is where a lot of the the new sort of fun and fandom of gaming is really sort of at, really, and to almost have a system or a set of systems that could be dedicated specifically to this kind of market is great. It really is. So I am very excited based on what you just said there, Derek, to get my my VS updated and have a couple of goes at this today if I can. The art style is absolutely beautiful. It's so cool. It just from the pictures that we had when we were sort of scrolling through, it reminds me a little bit of sort of things like, I guess, like Burger Time and the original Mario Bros. Is that sort of how the game plays? Is that what's the aim of the game when you're sort of playing the levels?
Yeah, I mean, he's really put a lot of connection. You see the little ghost there that reminds us of the color of Clyde from Pac-Man. He's right in the middle of the Ferris wheel. yeah, I mean, he's thought about things. When you get to, I think it's the 4th stage, Candy Store Crush, that reminds me very much of Donkey Kong Jr. with the with the ropes hanging down. So yeah, he's put a lot of thought of like Popeye and things like that, and sort of incorporated them all to bring an absolutely fantastic game. And I mean, I must give a shout out to the chiptune soundtrack, which really is exceptional. And once it gets in your head, you've had it, you'll be whistling it. So my advice is get that mute button on immediately and save yourself the torture.
Everyone loves a good earworm, don't they? And video games have got some absolutely classic ones. We'll get on to one of our topics later on that we're going to sort of talk about because it's Easter, and there's some really good earworms on those games as well. Fantastic. Mr. Blunners, have you managed to play this yet?
No, this is one of the main reasons why I've bought my VS, actually, because obviously I want to be a part of this and I wanted to have a go on these games that are coming out, because obviously I've missed it beforehand. But yeah, this is the whole reason I've got a Versus or a VS. It's just to want to be a part of some of these games that are coming out. So hopefully anytime this week I should receive it.
Fantastic. So Mr. Ryan, what have you made of Retro Dodo? Donut Dodo.
He's a YouTuber, isn't he? Retro Dodo. I quite enjoy him as well.
Yeah, he is. There we are. Big shout out to Retro Dodo. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool guy. I really enjoy it. I downloaded it today and I played it. I think I only got to level 3, and there's no save states in it because it's a native game. So yeah, good luck with trying to cheat to get through levels. You're going to have to master the movements of the bad guys and try and sneak your way to collect those donuts to then get the big donut from the massive dodo who's firing like flames at you. So yeah, it is very, very good. I was going to say, like you, it's very much like Burger Time. That's what it reminds me of. But then also there's elements, like Derek said, of Donkey Kong, the original Mario. There's Pac-Man elements in there. The guys have done an absolutely brilliant job with this. It's definitely one of the best indie hero games that we've had. It's up there with, and I'm not just saying this because the creators in the chat this evening, but it's up there with Flea and Tapeworm as a game that's really addictive and you want to keep going back and playing it. It's got an absolutely fantastic soundtrack as well, like Sir Top Hat said as well, and it sounds like stereo on my TV. You know, it sounds like booming music at the start of the level, and it's like, right, I'm ready, I'm going to go for it, and then it's like I'm not going to swear on. It's like, bugger, I've got dead again, so I've got to go right back to the start, and I'm going to not lose a life on these first 2 levels. So then I've got more on that 3rd level to keep going. So yeah, an absolutely fantastic game. So Top Hat, if you've had any input in this at all, which I think you may well have done, thank you very much for bringing this to Evercade and bringing it to my attention anyway, because it's a game I wouldn't necessarily have played. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. And
yeah, my pleasure.
I'm very much looking forward to it being on the cartridge. I think early next year. I think that's announced for.
Yeah, February 2024.
Yep. The only disappointing thing's going to be the game that's got to follow this is going to find it hard, because this is so good. And I appreciate you going with the big game first. I think last year was Tapeworm the first game of the month.
Yeah. What a great game.
Yes. Yeah. So, you go in with the big hitter, but then everyone else has to follow that. And it's very, very difficult. It's like, if there's a stand-up comedian who's absolutely brilliant and you're the one after him, and you've got, the audience is already in stitches, and then you're like, oh no, it's like that.
You got to be good.
Yeah. And maybe, if this is the level they're starting with, then hopefully the next games are going to be of the similar or even better level. And in which case we're going to have a very good year of Game of the Month.
Excellent. Well, I think you've all successfully sold that to me. I think the first thing I will do, is load up the VS and get that updated as soon as I'm done. Fantastic. Yeah, it looks like such a cool game. It really does. So I do miss this sort of type of game as well. These sort of, they're not really puzzle games, but it's just sort of more like collect and dodge the enemies and this kind of thing on. But yeah, this was sort of like the sort of thing would have been massive on the arcades back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm all up for that. Very, very cool game to go for game of the month. So that's a resounding thumbs up from everybody.
Yeah, you even press the select button to insert the coin at the start of the game.
Yeah,
You know, it's even got that nice little touch, so it feels like an arcade game.
yeah.
Well, it will be
very
an
much-
arcade game, as that's the next little project of Pixel Games, is to produce an actual arcade cabinet that will be able to be purchased by pubs and, of course, ordinary arcades around. So yeah, that's going to be their next thing before they perhaps start on another project for the Evercade. So let's hope so.
Ooh.
Fingers crossed.
Excellent. Yes. That's again Phantom. Hi there, Phantom. It's just mentioning Popeye again. I know that Derek said that earlier. Yeah, classic type of game for that sort of era. Phenomenal. Right, before we jump into our sort of Easter special chat on a topic, I can see Mr. Jarvis and Mitch Much More is there. So good evening, Mr. Jarvis. He says, good to see Blaze at Evercade at Expo this year. So was this at your Ex? Was this at the Nottingham Expo?
No, I believe that a couple of Blaze staff are going to be at OLL at the weekend.
Ah,
Yeah, you might meet him then. I think, won't you?
that would be cool. That would be really cool. Yeah, mate, I'm avoiding anyone that's ill. If anyone coughs anywhere near me at the minute, I'm just immediately spray at them, telling them to stay back. I might even wear a face covering all week. Like, I am not missing this weekend after last year's catastrophe. This year, I can't be missing this. Cannot be missing this. So, wow, yeah, that'd be great if Blaze or some representatives from Evercade are up there. So,
Do you know who that's going to be, Sir Toppin Hat? Do you know who's likely to be there from Blaze?
I'm not sure offhand, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. So it'd be a case of turn up and find out, I think. But yeah,
look for someone carrying the travel mug, in the baseball cap, the KD
absolutely.
t-shirt.
Yeah.
That'll be them.
Amazing. Alistair says, yeah, he keeps bumping into Sean at the moment. Yes, it's going to be great to see Alistair down there as well. Obviously, I didn't get to meet him last year, so I'm really looking forward to catching up and meeting Alistair this year. Hopefully, he'll have a flea or a tapeworm cartridge for the NES, because that might be something I look to walk away with this year.
Absolutely beautiful, those boxes that he
Pretty
has for
good.
those games. And he'll probably confirm in the chat. Last year he was selling signed copies of Indie Heroes. So hopefully you'll have Indie Heroes and Indie Heroes 2 with him at the weekend. So if you are in Norwich and you are at OLL, do go and pay Alistair a visit and pick yourself up a signed copy of Indie Heroes.
I still need Indie Heroes, so I might walk away with that as well. Dang. Or Indie Heroes 2 anyway. I've got the first one.